We're making it easier for buildings to become the power plants of the future. We're also helping real estate developers and utilities capture the massive opportunity from growing electric vehicle demand. I'm Carter Lee, CEO at SWTCH, an energy tech startup that has achieved profitability and over $1 million in commercial sales. Solar generation, battery storage, and electric vehicle charging are becoming prevalent in buildings around the world, allowing them to produce, consume, and even sell their own electricity. It's a hugely exciting opportunity that could bring new revenue streams to the real estate industry. But there's a problem. These opportunities are typically provided by entities without established trust. Blockchain could be a solution to providing this trust, but the speed needed to process large-scale energy transactions is beyond the capabilities of current blockchain technologies. At SWTCH, we've developed a blockchain platform that's designed specifically to address the needs of large-scale energy transactions in large urban settings. It's fast, it's energy efficient, and most importantly, it's interoperable, allowing you to plug and play with a wide variety of existing building energy management systems. So what's the result? Well, everyone wins. Electric vehicle drivers get charging access when and where they need it most. Building owners increase property values and gain additional revenue streams. And utilities maximize load growth while minimizing costly infrastructure upgrades. SWTCH is a player in an $83 billion electric vehicle charging industry, and that's just our point of entry. As electric vehicles and distributed energy resources become more prevalent in high-density urban settings, we'll also be tapping into the enormous $244 billion digital utility industry through demand response and transactive energy programs. We fully commercialized our electric vehicle charging management platform with over $1 million in commercial sales while becoming cash flow positive. We've also secured over $3 million in R&D projects with real estate, engineering, and energy utility partners to commercialize our energy blockchain platform in sites across North America. In terms of the competitive landscape, we have two groups of competitors. Companies in the bottom two quadrants provide public consensus blockchains that are slow and energy intensive. Companies in the top two quadrants, including SWTCH, provide permission consensus blockchains that are fast and energy efficient. Unlike any of our competitors, SWTCH is the only blockchain that can process real-time large-scale energy transactions up to 100,000 transactions per second. Our team has decades of experience in energy and transportation. I have a management consulting background, and my co-founding team brings a clean energy background. Our advisory board includes renowned academics, blockchain architects, and transactive energy experts. Their proven track records provide SWTCH with experience and support to effectively scale our technology and our business. We're moving into an age where buildings produce and consume their own electricity, where electric vehicles charge and discharge energy to support the grid, and where blockchain enables the distributed energy economy. SWTCH is leading the way in helping real estate developers capture these massive opportunities and realizing the vision of buildings becoming the power plants of the future. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Carter. Excellent presentation. And we will now go to the jury review of the question and answer session of the presentation for SWTCH. Angie, would like to start with you. Do you have a question for Carter today?
Absolutely. First of all, Carter, congrats on the presentation and thank you so much for sharing what you do. I was taking notes and I wanted to ask you, what are your barriers to entry? I mean, you're talking about your competitive advantage, but how do you plan to shore up your position?
I think the main barrier of entry for us right now is the rate of adoption of electric vehicles. You know, we have our technology is commercialized and it's readily viable, but you know, we need electric vehicles within these buildings, and we need you know, a fair bit of amount for us to transact the energy between the electric vehicles and with tenants within the buildings themselves. So, you know, as viable as our, you know, our internal business is, if there is a slowdown in the adoption of electric vehicles due to, you know, government regulation change and industry regulation changes that, you know, for example, don't promote electric vehicle adoption anymore, that can kind of hinder our go-to-market essentially.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and thank you so much. I actually probably didn't phrase it right. I meant, what barriers can you put up? So what is your competitive advantage?
Oh, I see.
But
yeah.
what will help you protect your market from the competition? Because presumably I mean, EVs are the future, so it's a market that's very interesting for a lot of people. So I'm just wondering, how can you keep your competitive advantage?
That's a great question. And so our focus is on buildings. Most competitors in the electric vehicle charging management space focus on a network. So the idea of putting them on autoroutes and highways, whereas we're focused on the specific constraints of putting electric vehicle infrastructure within buildings. So the electrical infrastructure capacity is a big limiting factor with buildings that are over 100 years old. You know, they were never designed for the idea of putting in dozens of charging stations within that building. So our focus around integrating with building energy management systems, our focus around interoperability, and our focus around managing it within space constraints is what it really differentiates ourselves, and that's nobody else is doing in the market right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. Ginny, question for you for Carter.
Yes. Carter, again, also congrats. Super exciting and really fascinating, important work. I have a question just around markets and geographies that you're looking at, and I'm curious how the regulatory environments in various markets, both in terms of the EU versus US, and then as well as, you know, within regions, is shaping your go-to-market strategy and how you're thinking about where you would want to start and how you would expand.
Sure. So that's a great question. And the regulation, the policies affect us in both, in two ways. One is the actual, you know, I guess the adoption of electric vehicles, which is a big thing. You know, there's credits across the world that promote electric vehicles, but they're always shifting. You know, some are going away, some are coming up. So that affects the overall adoption. But also on the electrical utility side, the regulations around transactive energy, about deregulated energy, is a big part of our challenge, is that some jurisdictions allow deregulated energy trading, whereas some don't. So, you know, we have to play within different jurisdictions, and that could be as small as state or provincial or, you know, or regional essentially. So that both those factors play a role in our go-to-market.
Jonathan, question?
Yeah, hi Carter. Great presentation. So,
Thank you.
I mean, you mentioned that this creates value for the building owner. Have you been able to quantify what that value is?
Absolutely. So a big part of our technology is around the component of demand response. The independent service operators who provide demand response programs have essentially various different ways of providing that value. The idea is that if you shave your peaks at a certain period of time during a season, that they can provide thousands of dollars of additional revenue. So we've calculated that to be about $9,000 per charging station that can bring additional profit to the building just from the demand response components in itself. Never mind the actual amenities that you're bringing to the buildings, that you increase the property values of the buildings, and never mind the additional revenue streams of just the transactional fees that you provide from providing charging stations, essentially. Yeah.
And what sort of payback does that lead to?
The payback is the ROI is about 2.5 years for just the transactional component of the charging. That doesn't include the value that it brings to the overall property, and then it doesn't include the actual demand response programs. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dan, question for Carter.
Yeah, Carter, just to echo everyone else's great presentation, and I love the idea, so thank you very much. It's just a curious question about batteries. So whilst electric vehicles are being developed, so are batteries. So there is a logic that people are not going to need to charge their vehicles so much in the long run. Okay. How does that affect your business and your business model?
It actually works well because 90% of the time people charge their vehicles either at home or at work in buildings. You know, this concept of charging on a super fast charging station along auto routes is going to be very seldom, and it's only for distance traveling when you're going long distances between one city and the other. Whereas we provide charging that's not necessarily the fastest, but the most convenient, where you're accessed, you know, because you don't have to go out of the way to charge your vehicle. You know, you go to your apartment or your condominium every day. You go to your workplace every day in buildings, essentially. So when they don't charge as often, they do charge. And when they charge, it's most likely in buildings at work or at home, essentially.
Great. Jorn, final question? Okay, we'll save it for the next round. Well, Carter, a big round of applause for you. Great job. Congratulations on making the finals, and good luck on becoming one of the 3 selected finalists, winners from this competition.